Hi, this is Al in SoCal, and I have a collection, a small collection here, large, medium size, and compact, you might say. Condition one carrying cases. And as you know, the Condition one is a very competitive product to the very well-known Pelican brand. Pelican, I think, pretty much established the market cases. So I'm very familiar with carrying expensive gear in a case that's appropriate to protect it. So they're very competitive, they're quality built, and they're at a lesser price. That makes them a good value. This is the 22-inch large rollable hard case. And one of the things that I first was noticing about the case is that it's rated. It's actually rated with a specification. Specification comes from the International Electrotech Commission, and it's under their standard 60529. And under that standard, they have a rating chart that is called the IP chart, ingress protection. Ingress meaning incoming of whatever it is, and then protection meaning protection. So the IP rating on this case is 67. The first number is for solids, and the ratings go from 1 to 6. This gets the highest rating, and that rating is for solids, dust, sand. So it has the highest rating. The second number is for water immersion. And in this case, it got a 7 out of 8. The 7 rating indicates that it's good for 30 minutes, submersed between 15 centimeters and a full 1 meter for 30 minutes without allowing water ingress, H2O ingress. And that would apply to either salt or fresh. Anyway, typically the uses for these cases will be for photographic equipment. I've traveled quite a bit on business over the years, and in my industry, not directly, but somewhat associated, I'd work with people that carried measurement equipment. And that's something I see even today at the airports, people running around with these cases, and I'm guessing inside, it's either photography or measurement equipment. And again, being that it's so durable and also in some ways secure, the third area, which gets a lot of play for this type of case, is armaments. Typically sidearms. There are long rifle cases available. This smaller case from Condition 1 is something that I would consider for my small arms. So it is also rated as a TSA approved case. If this is going to be a carry-on, I just want to tell you right away, carry-on limit, I believe, is 22 pounds. This case weighs on its own 15 pounds. It's a little under 15. So you've got 15 pounds essentially of case, and then you get to add 7 pounds of delicate equipment inside. So I just wanted to mention that, it's not like your limit is 22 pounds. People don't think about weighing their luggage. People don't think when they're buying luggage if it's really a great price. How much does it weigh? Because, international flights like my wife and I take quite often to go back to Brazil at least once, maybe every other year, at least every year. We go in both directions with a lot of luggage. So this weighs 15 pounds on its own. Well, Now, talking about using this for traveling, one of the things that I liked about this case, being that they call it rollable, Pelican uses the term mobility case. This is a rollable case by condition one. If you're in an airport, the first thing you're probably going to do when you take it out of the back of your car or however you arrive, there's a little plastic tab here that holds this, the pull-up handle in place, although it's very stiff. I'm going to tell you right now. If you pull back on this and pull up a bit to somewhat release it, you can then, and I'm going to have to do it this way, you can then pull this handle out. If I tried pulling it straight up, I'm telling you, this sucker is stiff. At least this one came in very tight. So there's little chance if I even if I didn't have this spring back on the plastic, there's a little spring back on this plastic. When it goes back in, it goes under an integrated tab on this. Whoa, I guess it didn't. You know what? There's an issue I'm going to check on. This tab is not holding in place. I presumed it did, but it didn't. Maybe it needs to be pushed in a bit and then you push down just to hold it. But that doesn't make me feel good. I think the memory position should be forward. For some reason, this one isn't. I can check into that later. But the point is, it's reasonably stiff, so it's not going to just drop down. I've had cases, cheap cases, where these handles drop down. And the other thing that I like about this case, and something you should be very aware of, it has what they call all-terrain wheels. That's a good description. They sort of look like all-terrain wheels. Rubber, a rubberized material on the outside of this wheel. I'm presuming the core of the wheel is some hard plastic, but it's rubber on the outside, it's wide, and it's also of a large diameter. So these wheels are going to negotiate airports and breaks in the concrete and the aluminum thresholds that you might come across, or stainless thresholds in doorways. It'll make it up and over. And with a larger wheel, and I've learned this over the years when I shop for luggage, a larger wheel it makes the case usable. So you want to look for that. And I thought the fact that this had larger wheels was a good deal. So I'm going to pull back on the plastic again. It looks like it's out of the way. And I'm going to push that handle back down. Believe me, if it were at ground level, I'd have a more direct push on it. Now I'm going to show you the front of the case where the tabs are for opening it. Something I really like about this case, these two tabs to open, you pull it up like this. To close it, you push down and you snap it in place. So you can pull up like that, but to push down, you snap. So that snapping tells me that I've absolutely locked it in position. It doesn't mean that you have trouble or have to push in to lift it up, because I've just shown you opening it. It seems to open without pushing in, but you do have to push in to release it, so you can close it. Seems like the locks, if you have a TSA lock, you see these holes here. The inside diameter is about 0.275, 275 thousandths. A typical shank, the metal curved shank on a lock for this type of luggage is going to be 1/4 inch. So you want to make sure when you're buying a lock, don't get the massive lock thinking, boy, it's going to be really secure when I get done. You'll never get it through the lock tab area here. These two lock tabs, and this is where you'd lock the case box. So, talking about the interior, let me get to the foam. A lot of people that have reviewed these cases have talked about the foam sheets. These are what are called pluckable foam layered sheets. There are 3 1.5-inch pluckable sheets, 3 of these. In this particular case, there's the third one, and you'll notice they're die cut, probably steel rule die cut in the factory, these foam inserts, to negotiate the molded case. You know, you just can't cut a rectangle and it's not going to fit properly. And of course, at the very top, you've got your egg crate foam. That stays here, that doesn't go anywhere. The foam that's on the inside of this case, I call that the floor. This is the bottom piece. And that's die cut, obviously, to negotiate the form, the molded form of this case. So you don't cut that. That's, you know, that's your last cushion. Just a couple more notes about the foam and about the case. I had an opportunity, because I had questions about the case when I did the first part of my review. I got a hold of Condition 1, and I want to add what I guess would be a compliment to the company. Condition 1 answered the phone. Condition 1 is here in the US, and Condition 1 got me over to a product manager. I was really impressed. I come from an engineering, manufacturing, marketing background, so having my own businesses, when I have a question, I want to talk to somebody who knows at least what I know, plus way more. And as you know, getting hold of a customer service rep who's reading out of a book or running off of a script, as we deal with many times when we call customer service, that is not what happened to me. So props to Condition 1 for being responsive and open about their product. They were very helpful. And I'll tell you exactly where they were helpful. I was questioning the close and open latch mechanism. As I had found out, if you pull up, you can open the case. You can lift up the tabs and open the case. However, if you want to close the case and push in on the tabs, you have to put on the put your fingers here on the textured area of the tabs, and then push in, and then it completes the closing action and essentially the locking action. Following doing that, the presumption is after you close these tabs and you know they're closed, you're then going to put your TSA locks on the case, and it'll be reasonably secure for you rolling through an airport. So the explanation was that these are in fact patented design latches. Closing them and being able to do that and know that you've closed that tab, that's part of the patent process. So in that way I was impressed. I did tell them that if it were possible in the future, if there were a redesign and a repatent, I'd like to see that same push before you can open feature. So that took care of that. The next item, and where I left off on my video, was talking about the foam inserts. As I said, there are 3.5-inch foam inserts. And from an earlier try that I did, I had some focusing problems. I wanted to tell you that if you have a problem plucking these inserts, if something goes wrong, if you want another set of inserts, Condition 1 does offer additional foam inserts. So that's good to know. You give them a call and you can purchase what you need to replace whatever, or for a second set of foam inserts. And the reason I say a second set, let's say that you've got over here, you've got camera equipment, over there you've got stuff you're taking to the pistol range. And do you have to get 2 cases? Well, my first thought was, and others have already thought about this. You don't have to pluck the foam at all. What you can do is sandwich your valuables. And I was demonstrating it, although I couldn't use the video a moment ago. I've got a couple power banks here just to demonstrate. What I would do, I would put my valuables in the case. I'll let you see it there. And then I would simply take my foam and I would sandwich them. Now, the foam is going to compress. It'll compress more in areas that have nothing or less thick items, but the foam will compress. And you can even finish it with another piece of foam. So if those 2 items were extremely delicate, I have a feeling that they'll be very, very secure in this case. Even though I didn't pluck the foam, they're sandwiched in, they're good to go, in my opinion. I can't guarantee anything, obviously. It's not my place. So that was the other item I wanted to share with you. I had something else here. I think I covered it. The foam is available from the manufacturer. You don't have to cut the foam. Hallelujah. Just one note, personal note. With pluckable foam like this, typically what I do is I will make a paper template. I lay my item on some corrugated or chipboard, and I will draw the profile of the item that's going to drop into the foam. And I try to undercut, by the way, meaning I don't cut the outside perimeter. I try to go in 1/8 of an inch or go in a little bit. So it's always a snug fit when I drop my item in. Better to have the cavity that you've created a little undersized, obviously. But about the plucking, yes, you can pluck the foam. But the other thing you can do is take your templates, put them here. You can pin them in literally with pins to hold the paper in place. And instead of plucking the foam, I would recommend what I do. I take a sharp knife and I use the pre-scores. I call them score lines. But the steel rule die has cut evidently all the way through the foam, but they've left little tabs so that you can pluck out the foam. I like to take a really thin, sharp knife and do my cutting instead of plucking. I think it's a lot more accurate, and it's just the way I roll. Where did I come up with that? That is so 1980s, right? So that's it. I think these are great cases. They're extremely well priced. The companies in the United States, I was able to talk to a real person who was actually in management, product management. That was very impressive. They've got all of the features of some other good case lines out there, but the price is a bit better. So, it's a win-win. It's a win-win. This is an easy 5-star for me on this roller case. It really is. It's a very good item.